Hi guys. Nick or Pokebunny recording my first StarCraft first-person video, and this is just going to be a build order because mostly what people in the basement seem to be having trouble with is opening up, and I think that's one of my strongest points. So I'm going to record a great Protoss versus Terran build order on especially maps with wide chokes such as Medusa, or maps with downward ramps such as Byzantium and Spinel Valley. This build is basically called 10-15 gate goon pressure build because what it does is it pressures really early with early goons and quick goon range, so you can pick off things like tanks and marines pretty easily and quite often win the game from there. And even if you don't, it gives you a good amount of units to expand and tech up with if your rush doesn't do a ton of damage. So you start out with the standard 8 pylon. One thing you might notice is I'm not scouting on this pylon. That's one of the most important things of this build, I think, is that you don't scout quite as early. I scout on when I make my core in this game. You'll see around 13 supply. So I make a gate on 10, which is also standard. I still am not scouting. See, the reason I'm not scouting is because I need the extra minerals, because this build requires a lot of early buildings, and you cut a couple probes anyways, so you need every extra mineral you can get. So now I'm making gas on 11. Normally you'd make gas on 12 if you scouted early, but I can get a few seconds up because I didn't scout. So, yeah, the idea of this build, as I said before, is to pressure the Terran really early with goons. And you should not try this on ramp mats, because even if the Terran doesn't wall, they can very easily hold their ramp. On non-ramp maps, it's really hard to, hold any sort of small choke and stop goons from getting even ground on you. Such as Medusa, there is no high ground, and it's a very open choke, so it's very easy for the goons to maneuver. Especially even if he walls, which is common on Medusa. If he walls in, you still might even be able to kill him, simply because you'll have so many Dragoons attacking his walls and SCVs, and if you pick off his tanks properly, you will win. So notice I cut probes once I get 15 supply, and I add another gateway at 15. I added my core and scouted on 13 supply. One thing you might notice is I just got my range before my first Dragoon, and that's, I think, important and better in this build, because your first Dragoon isn't as important as your second and third, and the way the timing of the second pylon works out, you will start your second Dragoon at the same time anyways. Even with your first goon being a little later. So you start a goon, make a goon on 15, and then make a pylon on 17, resume probe production when your next pylon comes up, and you're going to make 2 goons when this pylon finishes. After these 2 goons are done and at your opponent's choke, range should be about to finish or finished, and that's when you want to start attacking his wall or his marines, depending on whether he walled or not. And if he did wall, by the way, if you can pick off his marines out of the marine range, by all means do it. The less marines he has when you break in, the better. So now I'm going to send all my Dragoons down to this choke at the bottom. You might notice I'm playing on a blank map because I'm just showing this builder, so I have no opponent. So keep making Dragoons. I'm going to point out in a sec, my range is about to finish, and my Dragoons are going towards this, and my second and third Dragoons are going towards this base. This is one of the more crucial points of the build, which it can either make or break. If you kill his first tank and first couple Marines with these 3 Dragoons without losing any, you would have basically won the game. He's going to try to pull his tank back, because he'll have slightly longer range than you, even when you have the range upgrade finished. He's going to just try to keep it behind his wall if he has one and shoot you, or keep it behind his marines and shoot you if he doesn't. So now you'd be attacking the wall, and if he comes to repair the wall, what I like to do is have a couple goons that stay attacking the wall, and then a couple goons attack the SCVs, because this means if he just pulls the SCVs and has them repair each other, then you'll actually do damage. So yeah, this build after 7 Dragoons, I'm going to cut making Dragoons and expand. One of the nice things about this build is that even if you don't do a lot of damage, as long as you don't lose your Dragoons too easily, which is easier said than done, because especially on without land latency, it's pretty hard to micro Dragoons against tanks and Marines. So I just cut Dragoons for a second and expand, and then you can add a robotics facility and get observers. If you really want, you can stay on one base and get a robotics facility first and make a shuttle at a couple zealots and try to do a sort of bulldog attack, which is like drop 2 to 4 zealots on his tanks and rush all your goons in off one base.